In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how to generate more income in today's market. I'm going to help you set up a business plan for the next 90 days, 6 months, 9 months. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do in order to generate more income. This is called the income engine. Vikram and I have had the opportunity to see under the hood of some of the largest real estate teams and some of the agents that we have coached and advised and how they've actually doubled and tripled their income and where their business comes from. Maybe you heard in the past that you need 5 to 6 lead sources in order to grow a business. And just unfortunately, what we've seen is that's not quite true. And in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do and how you create a business plan to actually get the results you're looking for. A lot of you filled out a client intake form and you have amazing ideas and you have amazing concepts and you have a lot of hopes and dreams for the future. And I want to show you in this video exactly how to turn that into a reality. So let's get into it. It's called the income engine. So everything at the end of the day falls under 3 categories. And the first thing is called activity. So you either have more time or you have more money. And a lot of us are at a point in our businesses where we have a lot more time than we do money. So we need to find a source in order to actually generate revenue, in order to generate income on a consistent basis. Now, I have a fundamental belief that no one should be buying lead gen companies. No one should be using a lead gen company. No one should be buying leads until they're doing at least one consistent deal per month, because that one consistent deal a month will give you the opportunity in order to reinvest back in your business. You're already here reinvesting back in your business. The goal is for us to figure out how do we increase our sales conversion so that we can invest into other things. But in order to do that, we need to actually do something. We need a way to generate new business. And how we do that is through activity. So I'm going to give you some examples here. So you got to choose your hard here today. Do you want to do door knocking? Do you want to do cold calls? Do you want to do open houses? Do you want to call expires? Do you want to send cold DMs via Instagram? You have to choose your hard, but you have to do something. You can't do nothing. Something we learned along the way is that when you look at businesses and how they actually grow is like agents are doing something. They're exchanging time for money. So later on in the video, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do in order to actually do this. It's one thing for me to say, make more phone calls. That's not going to be this video. This video is going to be a business planning workshop that's going to give you clarity and insight. And you're going to feel excited by the end of this video to know exactly what you need to do in order to generate results for your business. So the second thing we need to consider is strategic referrals. Now, you might have heard in the past, like people say, hey, I have a referral-based business. Well, in a lot of these businesses, they don't actually have a referral-based business because it's not written down. If you remember back to a video recently, what did I say? I said, if you want to win in today's market, you have to study, you have to practice, you have to write it out, and you need to track. And then you have to study, write it out, you got to practice, and you have to track it again. The same goes for this. If you want to do strategic referrals, it's not enough to just have a strategic referral. You have to write it out. Like, what is the process that you implement day in and day out in order to actually create the results you're looking to create in your business? So here are some examples of some strategic referrals that you can do. You could KPI your coffee meetings, meaning like you have clients at SOI. You set it out to essentially do 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 coffee meetings every week. Now, the question then becomes, what do I say in the coffee meetings in order to generate those referrals? That's a process. That's something that you do. That's something you write out in order to actually measure and track, are your coffee meetings working? I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Maybe it's a lender, an accountant, maybe it's a financial planner that you connect with on a weekly or monthly basis, but you have to track that. You have to write out what you're going to say in order to actually generate income. Maybe it's virtual client events or virtual events that you do. Maybe it's networking events you go to in order to generate strategic referrals. But what I need you to do today, what I need you to commit to is like one activity, one way to generate strategic referrals. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that. Now, if you remember what I said is we don't buy leads until we're doing a consistent deal a month. Now, if you're doing a consistent deal a month, I want to give you something. So in the chat below, in the comment section below, there is a list of a bunch of pay at close referral companies. Now, you're going to have to pay them 30 to 40% at close in order to use their services, but that's where I would start. If I were you in your situation, doing a consistent deal a month, I would add in the pay at close. I would sign up for all the pay at close, not paying $0. Now, if you're doing a deal a month, then we can add in a source. You could do something like Zillow. Now, if you can't convert Zillow leads at like 7, 10, 15, 20%, you're unfortunately not going to convert PPC. You're not going to convert mailers. You're not going to convert realtor.com. What my recommendation would be is start with activity, then move to strategic referrals, then add a paid source. I would have anyone add a paid source, but pay at close. But that's what I would do if I were you in your market, because that, what we're trying to do is we don't have a lot of money. So we're trying to maximize our marketing budget to give us the best results. Now, why do even the best intentions fall short? It's like, sure, awesome. We create we have the strategic marketing, or we have the strategic referral idea that we're going to do. And we have, we're going to do open houses. But why do even the best intentions fall short? Let me explain why. Is every source needs a KPI. Let me explain what a KPI is. A KPI is essentially a key performing indicator that tracks what works and what doesn't work. Like, we could time block our calendar, and Vikram talks about this. He says, time block your day. Like, he shows you exactly what to do. Now, time blocking creates the space, but your KPI, your key performing indicator, ensures the space is used with purpose. Let me explain what I mean by that. Every KPI needs accountability and minimum standards. I want to tell you a quick story. About a year and a half ago, I was having a conversation with our friend Sharon. If you don't know Sharon is the president of Real, the fastest growing publicly traded company in North America. And, Sharon and I were chatting, and I was saying to him, like, I was on FaceTime with him. I'm like, hey man, like, the business isn't growing quite as fast as I would want it to. He said, tell me more. I said, hey, we're not getting as many clients, and I'm not being able to bring in as many clients. And he asked me a question. He said, what is your minimum standard around the appointments that you set on your calendar a week? I'm like, well, I don't really have a minimum standard. And he said, well, there's the problem. And I said, what do you mean? He said, we've experienced 5x growth in 2 years, meaning like when he started, I think there were like 4,000 agents. They're now well over 26,000 agents by the time we've recorded this video. And he said to me, he said, Cody, my minimum standard is I do 30 attraction calls every single week. And I said, you do 30 attraction? Like, show me your calendar, bro. 30 attraction calls every single week. In the Q4 of 2024, Sharon did 64 keynotes. Now, everyone sees what Sharon did. They see the result, but they don't see the leading indicator. They see the lagging indicator, which is the 5x growth in less than 2 years, but they don't see the leading indicators, the things that he did in order to generate that result, which was the 64 keynotes that he did in Q4 and the 30 attraction calls that he did every single week. Like, we underestimate the amount of volume that is required in order to generate the results that we desire. Everything you put on your client intake form that you wanted, the retirement of your spouse, maybe you're working a job currently and you want to get out of that job and go into real estate full time. Maybe you just want to take a vacation for the very first time. Like, this all requires work today in order to reap the benefit later. That's why I'm talking about the income engine, and it changed my perspective. And our company started to rapidly grow because I set a minimum standard. I said my minimum standard was I do at least 6 to 8 appointments every single week on my calendar, no matter what. And that is a reminder that, do I fail sometimes? Yes, I sometimes fail, but that's my minimum standard. And we rise and we fall to the level of our minimum standard. And I now make sure that no matter what, I have 6 to 8 appointments on my calendar, and I put in the infrastructure in place in order to make sure that happens. And I want to show you how we put in that infrastructure today, because we rise and fall to the level of whatever our minimum standards are. Every source needs a KPI. So a KPI is a key performing indicator. So this is an example of a KPI. Your minimum standard could be, I do 3 coffee meetings every single week. I do 2 open houses every single week. I make 50 dials every single day. I generate 50 leads per month. I have 5 appointments set per week. That's an example of mine. I door knock 25 homes per week. Like, I don't want this. This is not a 10x rule. I do not want you to add a 0 to your income goal. The reason why we as agents and we as entrepreneurs never hit our goals is because some guru from stage said, oh, awesome, I'm going to do $100,000. You add a 0 to it. And all of a sudden your goal is now 2 deals a month or 3 deals a month or $1 million a year, but you have no plan on how you're actually going to get there. That is not this. I do not want you to do this. I do not want you to add a 0 to your goal. I want you to set realistic goals with me today. So we actually move the needle, because intention alone doesn't move the needle. It just doesn't. Without aligning your beliefs, consistent action, accountability, and measuring that action with clear KPIs, your vision just remains a wish, not a result. Everything you put in your intake form, everything you said during onboarding about what you wanted in your business and all the dreams and the aspirations and the goals, they remain a wish with not a result without clear KPIs. So dreams need data to stay on course. KPIs aren't just numbers. These aren't just numbers. They're proof that your purpose is being lived. Everything you said that you wanted is proof with the numbers. So what do I mean by that? This is called the right next thing focus finder. I want to walk you through it really quickly. But what I want you to do, all I want you to do today is I want you to write out your activity. I want you to grab a pen and paper. I want you to write out your activity. I want you to write out your strategic referrals. And then I want you to sign up for all the pay at close stuff that you possibly can. Then in your activity, I want you to write out your next 3 actions. Like, what do you need to do? So say, for example, you're like, hey, I'm going to do open houses. Well, what are the next 3 actions you need to take over the next week in order to make this a reality? And then I want you to attach a KPI to this. So if I was doing open houses, I would say, okay, there's probably a few things I need to do in the open house. I'm going to set 1 open house a week because I just want to set a realistic goal. I'm going to door knock the 10 homes nearest to me. I'm going to set that as a KPI. And then what I'm going to do is I'm also going to cold call the 10. I'm going to call it 20 homes before the open house. So those are my 3 KPIs weekly: 1, 10, 20. Now, what does done look like? I want you to set a 90-day KPI. So a 90-day KPI, if I was doing open houses as my activity, this is what it would look like. So, I would go 1 times 12 because it's 12 weeks. So my KPI, you can kind of see it, you kind of can't. My KPI is 12. That would be my KPI when it comes to my open houses. Now, if I was making 10 door knocks by the end of 90 days, I would make 120 door knocks. Now, if I was making 20 cold calls times 12, my KPI would be 240 over the next 90 days. This is how easy it is to create a business plan. The problem is no one's actually ever broken down the numbers to get the result. They've given you the idea, but they haven't given you the structure. So this is a right next thing focus finder. I want you to do this for activity. I want you to do this for strategic referrals, and I want you to do this for pay at close. Who is going to inspect what you expect? This is the very last thing. It's one thing for us to make these, but I want you to go to somebody in the community after you do this, and I want you to commit to somebody. Maybe it's your wife, maybe it's your husband, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your brother, maybe it's your friend, maybe it's another colleague. Who are you committing to? And that is the end of today's training. So I hope you got a ton of value today. I hope you're able to take this and actually generate income in your real estate business in today's market, and you drive real financial results. We will see you in the next video.